No.
I'm not even sure if we should do an intro today. Just be like, what's up?
It's your podcast. You do what you want.
It's our podcast, not my podcast.
But you're the one doing the editing, and it's on your channel.
I said this, before we even started. This is going to be in the edit, by the way. I said this before we even started, that I asked you, I was like, should we put it on a separate channel for its own thing, or should it be on my channel, or should it be on your channel, or do both? And you were like, oh, I think it should be on your channel. No, you listen.
I'm the one speaking here. You will listen to what I say.
No one told Navi that. Someone should have.
There should have been a dialogue option to tell her to shut up.
Yeah. Hey, stop. Just shut her up or something.
Smack her on the backside.
Hey everyone, welcome to Bars and Tone, episode 5. It's the weekly Bars and Tone podcast featuring... Oh wait, no, that's not right. It's a weekly podcast featuring not Brandon and the Lost Gamer. Will, how you doing today?
I am doing alright. I've been stuck in Final Fantasy XIV for a little while, so that's been great.
Weeb.
Don't you mean otaku?
The fact that you know what that is means that you're a weeb, right?
I mean, according to the internet, I might as well be a weeb.
I guess so. If you like anything that is not what everyone else likes, then you're a weirdo.
I like one anime.
Well, that's it.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the scum of society now.
It's true, yeah.
Oh, shit.
My life is crumbling around me. How was your week?
Like I said, I've literally just been playing 14. I gotta get those, I gotta make the monthly subscription worth it, you know?
You're not playing, Gwent?
I've occasionally played Gwent. I really want to build my own deck, but I have, no cards to work with.
Yeah. You unlock them fast, though. If you spend the meteorite tokens the right way or whatever, but... Yeah.
I mean, I got, a chunk of, that stuff from unlocking them in the character progression thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, now that I've had a chance to look through it, that is way bigger than I thought.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of content there.
And the fact that there's still stuff locked away that I can't access yet.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's not even like they want you to grind. It's just a lot of stuff that you can unlock, basically, because none of that is paid for. You don't buy keys or whatever to unlock it. So it's not even like they did it on purpose for you to grind.
I think the only thing that you really had to pay for is some campaign mode that Gwent has.
Yeah, there's an arena mode that you can pay for it, but it's... Pardon me. They also offer a... So you can spend the meteorite tokens on entering the arena. You don't have to buy a pass into it, but those options are there too. I think the in-game economy of it is rather alright. So that's it. It's Final Fantasy XIV. You did nothing else. No videos. No nothing.
Nope.
I'm gonna ask you about a video every week, just so you know. When's more content coming, Will?
I could probably make a video talking about how lazy MMOs make you feel.
I guess so. You can make a... Why don't you make a Final Fantasy XIV video? Just do something.
Actually, I was debating on recording footage for Final Fantasy XIV, but the only thing about it is the fact that literally you will see everyone's username on there.
Oh.
Because, I think it'd be almost impossible to block those out, but, I mean...
Look in the options. Make sure that there's no... There might be an option for that. Just check.
Yeah.
And if people's usernames pop up, who cares? We'll just private the video later. So no dusk video, no nothing?
No, literally all my time has been spent playing through Final Fantasy XIV, which again, it's more or less just me trying to get the subscription money to be worth it.
Yeah.
That is the biggest
You're
drawback
gonna fall into this trap and you're not gonna get out.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem with MMOs like that, is the subscription is there to tie you down.
Yeah. You're gonna be stuck playing that game for years and years.
Yeah. I started playing that game because some friends of mine on Twitch started getting back into it, so I was gonna play with them.
Yeah.
But they're already at like end game content, so I'm just trying to play catch up.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I've gotten a character to like level 46 for my main class, so it's not bad. What about you? What have you been up to?
Not much. I've been working on videos. I've been remaking a demo reel to send out to some companies that I want to try to get a job at. I'm working on stuff for the channel. So what I'm doing is I'm basically working on a bunch of videos. That way, I'm ahead of the game. And so, like, there's one that's almost done. I started work on 2 more. And then, of course, there's the podcast every week. So hopefully by like mid-February, there should be something coming out, at least 2 or 3 videos every week. 'Cause I don't want to, again, I think I said this last week, but I don't want the channel to look like podcast, video, podcast, because then it looks like, oh, you didn't do anything for 3 weeks. If I'm not going to be doing anything on the channel, I want there to be a reason for it, like I got a job or like I'm doing something else and I literally can't do it. But if I have the free time to make that content, I should be making content. So that's what I've been focusing on. I'm just trying to get ahead of the game. Ever been listening to this podcast? More content is coming. It's awesome. Can't wait. Not really. I'm actually terrified of putting up content, but I have to do it. So
You don't have to do it, but
kind of do. In order to keep your skills in this field of video editing and stuff like that, you have to be doing it and thinking about it all the time. Otherwise, you're going to start to fall out of practice, and it's going to be harder and harder for you to get started again. So that's why I started the podcast, is because I wanted to learn about how to do audio editing. So now that this is going, and it's been going kind of well, we're 5 episodes in. Nobody listens to it, but
hey, we'll find that audience soon.
At least I can show that I can do it, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing about this channel, is that I can show that I can do these things, not just like, oh, it's not just memes all the time. I'll actually have a video or 2 that will not be kind of memey coming out. Projects that should be coming out in the next week or 2, or the Star Wars video that's almost done.
How long have you been making that video now?
A while, but I started over because I didn't like it.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, so I started over on it, and the script was just trash. So I threw that out, and I'm doing something that I think is a little bit more fun now. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how people react to it. I don't think that people are really gonna care, because I'm just so small that anything I do is better than doing nothing. So I don't know. Yeah. So my kind of like game plan in my head is that I would do like I have a review series on my channel called IRC. I recently consumed, and hopefully I'm gonna get 1 movie review out like a week, probably on Wednesdays, and then do like 2 gameplay videos, and then the podcast on Monday, and then like stream highlights. I'm gonna try to be streaming a lot more this month, mainly streaming on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So check that out. Saturday, Sunday are podcast editing streams, and then Friday is like Gwent or like whatever I feel like playing. Might be Apex, might be whatever.
We haven't played Apex in a while.
Yeah, no, I haven't played Apex in a while because I kind of got burned out. I was just like, oh well.
I mean, ever since they got rid of the duo mode, that and the fact that the whole gold weapon thing, it's not nearly as fun. Why must you do this?
Well, I mean, it's still alright. I liked the main game concept without the duo mode, but I liked the duo mode because you can. It's if you only have one friend to play with, then it makes it easier, and it's gonna make you want to play it more.
Yeah, but I do wish they bring back that other mode where you can only find gold weapons, because at that point,
because then it makes it more about your skill.
Yeah, rather than just getting lucky enough to find a good weapon.
Yeah. No, we talked about this, like, I think week 1, actually, about the elimination of duo mode and stuff like that.
I'm going to keep bringing it up until they put it in permanently. Come on, EA.
With the power you have on this podcast, you're going to bring it back.
By the power invested in me, I shall make Apex Legends great again.
That's right. Speaking of making things great again, I've been looking at playing Morrowind.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking at like what mods I would download and things like that, because I've actually never played Morrowind, and I'm really curious because it's supposed to be like the best game Bethesda ever made.
Like next to Oblivion.
Not even Oblivion gets as much praise as Morrowind. I see. Like Oblivion is often like the middle child between Morrowind and Skyrim. Like Skyrim gets way more praise than Oblivion does. Oblivion is like often considered like, oh, it was the pre-alpha of what Skyrim became.
I like Oblivion, but that was like the first Elder Scrolls that I've ever touched.
Yeah.
And like Morrowind, I want to give that a shot because, people praise the ever-living hell out of it.
there's like a bunch of mods that fix things. You know, like the dice roll combat. You can get a mod that fixes that. If you're not happy with the way dialogue works, there's a mod to fix that.
I mean, yeah, that's Elder Scrolls in a nutshell. You don't like something about it, just get a mod for it,
Yeah.
which is fine. Although, I one thing I'm looking forward to is Skywind.
Yeah. That's been in development forever.
Yeah, but apparently they've been making great progress for that and Sky Oblivion.
Yeah.
So we hopefully might see those games get released.
Until Bethesda releases a DMCA. You can't release it. Sorry.
Look, we can't have you guys making a better version of our games. That is unless we want to sell them.
That's right. Well, I don't understand why they don't hire those teams to do that. There is clearly a market for this, and clearly people want it because like these mods get a lot of attention. So like, why they don't do it or like hire these people is so absurd to me.
Hell, like EA, instead of shutting down the KOTOR remake, should have brought those people on board and be like, "Hey, would you mind making this an official thing?"
Yeah. Just hire those people. Those are people that were doing it for free.
Yeah. The only caveat being that you had to already own a copy of the game.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But that's not how they see it. They see it as those guys trying to tap into a market that they already have them by the balls.
Yeah.
It really is a shame that there is that sort of disconnect between company and community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that comes from like they're just kind of focused on the money aspect of it, and they're not really thinking about what customers actually want. You're like, it's so absurd to me how this works because it's like your customers literally want this thing because they're making it themselves. And you're going to ignore that and shut that down. Okay, sure, that makes sense. And it's not even like shutting it down so they could do it. It's shutting it down just so it doesn't exist. So maybe one day we might do it. Maybe.
Possibly.
Like, what? What kind of... What? I don't know. I think Valve's model was really perfect. Valve's model that they had in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where somebody would make a really popular mod for what was Half-Life at the time. And then those developers would get hired at Valve to make the official product and then release it as a game.
That sounds pretty cool.
And Valve created a lot of great careers that way. We got Team Fortress that way. We got Counter-Strike that way. We got Dota that way. We got...
What about Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead was different because Left 4 Dead was not a mod. It was a game being developed by Turtle Rock. And Valve found it interesting, so they bought out Turtle Rock and developed it in-house. And then there was some kind of weird... I don't remember what it was. There was some... there's a video about it somewhere.
Wait, is that why we haven't seen Left 4 Dead 3?
No, we haven't seen Left 4 Dead 3 because they literally couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with it. There was a news report that Valve News Network did a while back about why that happened. And apparently the team couldn't decide on what engine they wanted Left 4 Dead 3 to be in, and so the game was canceled.
Literally just over an engine.
Yeah, I know, that's brilliant. Yeah, it was like either Unity or Source 2, and they couldn't decide which one they wanted to be in, and so the project was shelved. Although apparently it could still come back, but I don't know about that.
I hear shelved in Valve, and I hear canceled.
Like Half-Life 3 was in development multiple times, and I mean, as many memes as there are about it, it was a real thing. And it got canceled in 2015 in favor of Half-Life Alyx. So,
I mean, even at that point, I'm pretty sure the hype for Half-Life 3 was so massive, it could not have potentially, or it could not have possibly satisfied everyone.
I think that's partially their fault. You know, I don't feel bad for Valve when it comes to the Half-Life situation. I think that Half-Life fans did take things a little too far with their excitement of it. But it also became like an internet meme. So like internet memes there's no basis in reality with that. So like sure it would have come out and it would have been a video game. And that's something with Half-Life Alyx that I think is really interesting is that everybody goes, "Oh, it's going to be mind-blowing, it's going to do this, it's going to do that." It's going to be a video game. You know, it's going to have levels, it's going to have mechanics that you interact with. It's going to have certain kind of graphics. It's going to have a little bit of jank. There's going to be some bugs. You know, it's not going to be the second coming of Jesus or anything.
I mean, it does look pretty good for a VR game.
That's something I go back and forth on, of whether or not I'm disappointed that it's a VR game. Because I kind of am. I'm like, really? This is the best you can do? You leave people on that cliffhanger for that long, and what you come back with is a VR exclusive prequel?
Oh no, like for me, it's not that for me, I didn't mind that was VR. I had a thing, or my thing was just the fact that it was a prequel.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so now and especially from my understanding is I have to go save my father, and it's like, didn't we save him already, like the past couple times?
Yeah, and we know how he dies, so it really doesn't matter. Yeah, the story has no stakes. I was talking about this with Dan, not on the podcast last week, but like when Half-Life Alex was announced, and that I really think that Alex's mom should have been the one that was in trouble, because we really don't know what happened to her. We kind of hear like snippets, but like, you know,
Whole thing about her mother is pretty much a mystery in the series.
yeah, it has some, and we know it has something to do with G-Man and Half-Life canon. Apparently, Eli's wife dies during the Black Mesa incident. I feel like that you could retcon that to be like, oh, it's actually this prequel game about the 7 Hour War and this thing happening or whatever. There's a lot of caveats I have about Half-Life Alyx. There's an art direction thing that I'm not particularly fond of that a lot of prequel material does. And I think it's so silly where they go, oh, okay, so this is what this thing was. Cool. This is what these characters looked like. This is what the bad guys looked like. Okay, so now we have to do prequel to that. Okay, so let's just make the technology look worse. Make it look kind of steampunk. I'm like, no. It should look exactly there shouldn't be any, I don't think that there should be any civil protection in Half-Life Alyx, because it should be like so, I mean, I don't know, maybe I should look at the timeline again. But based on how far the Citadel is in terms of construction, there shouldn't be a lot of human civil protection soldiers. Because civil protection was people that were forced because they were in such poverty to work for the Combine, and then they were augmented to work for the Combine. And so it doesn't make any sense to me that when Gordon shows up, it's like, oh yeah, we just been doing that. You know, I feel like it would take a long time for people to be that broken to join civil protection.
Well, yeah, because
like also it's like, oh yeah, the technology gets way better. The Combine figure out how to like make the Combine look better. I'm like, what?
Yeah, because doesn't Alex like take place only a few months, but prior to 2?
It's like a year or two or something like that. And then there's like rumors that the game ends with you meeting Gordon at the start of Half-Life 2 or something like that.
So then the game takes place over the course of a year or two. Okay, that's
right. Yeah, see, now it starts to make no sense. So
yeah, okay.
Not only that, now we're throwing that on top of, oh, you have to go rescue Eli Vance again.
Yeah, and
who we already know, spoilers, dies at the end of the episodes.
Yeah,
so there's no stakes in that story.
It's kind of like or the Black Widow movie, which, spoilers, we already know that Black Widow died at the end of Endgame, or in the middle of Endgame. So what's really the point of this?
Yeah. Oh, it's to make money because people want it. But in Half-Life Alyx's case, I really think it's about showing off the Source 2 tech, and it's really about selling VR and the Half-Life iconography. That's really what it's about. It's not really about we wanted to make a Half-Life game. And I mean, the pre-release material that they've released so far definitely indicates that it was VR first and Half-Life second. And it really feels like that. From like what I've seen, it's like, oh yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be bad or that it's going to be like rotten or anything like that. It just means that it's not going to be what people think it's going to be.
Like for me, the gameplay looks really fun, especially for a VR game.
Yeah.
But I guess it is going to lose the Half-Life aesthetic, I suppose.
It's strange because it definitely has the Half-Life 2 aesthetic. It's the thing is that it sucks that it has a Half-Life 2 aesthetic because it's basically like, so you know the First Order in Star Wars?
Yeah.
You know how the Stormtroopers look just like the Stormtroopers from the original series?
From the original trilogy?
Yeah. You know why they look that way?
Just for nostalgia value?
Because it's recognizable. Why do the New Republic use X-Wings and Y-Bombers or Y-Wings or whatever? Because it's recognizable. Why does everybody still use TIE Fighters? Because it's recognizable.
why does Half-Life Alex still look like Half-Life 2? Because it's recognizable.
Yeah, because you go, oh yeah, I remember the Civil Protection. I remember Half-Life 2. There's a great clip from Red Letter Media. They interviewed Max Landis, who later turned out to be like kind of a douchebag. But anyway, like he was like apparently like assaulted women and like all this like this whatever. I don't know the validity of that, so I'm not gonna like comment on it. But it doesn't look good. Anyway, there's a great clip where he's talking about how Hollywood works, and they do this all the time. If they will make something that is basically something that one is recognizable to people, so they go to see it, and two, so they when they watch like I said, like when they go to watch the trailer, they go, "Oh, I know what that is. I remember that. Oh, I should see this because that guy looks like this guy. Oh, wait, that's his son." Like things like that. A bunch of recognizable iconography to try to sell a product. And I don't think that's entirely what Half-Life Alyx is doing. I think that part of it is definitely like, this is what people wanted, so we're going to give them what they want, kind of, sort of, with a bunch of asterisks, And the current trend in the Half-Life community is to be like, oh man, we're getting another Half-Life game, we should be so grateful. I'm like, we had to wait like a decade and a half for something that isn't what people wanted. It doesn't mean that, again, this doesn't mean it's going to be bad. But it just means that we should be holding Half-Life Alyx to the same criticism that we hold every other game that's ever come out. Just because it's a Half-Life game doesn't mean all of a sudden it's like, oh, well,
another game.
We should just be grateful that we're getting what we're getting. No, we should be criticizing what we're getting, especially even more so, considering how long we've waited for this thing. So
yeah, I mean, it's just another video game. You kind of have to look at it like just another video game.
It is another video game,
It's going to have its problems, and there's going to be some things that you might like.
Yeah. There's going to be, there's going to be all kinds of different things with this that I think are interesting.
Which, oh my god, that game comes out in just a couple months.
Not a couple months, a month.
I mean, it's still January, but yeah. They come out, March 3rd?
Oh, damn it, you dated the podcast. This episode of the podcast comes out February 3rd. You dated us. You dated it. Shouldn't have done that. It soiled it. Soiled it. You're like, it's still January. And I'm like, no, it comes out.
Yes, it comes out next month.
Yeah, it does.
Because it comes out March 3rd?
What day does it come out? Let's take a look here. All right, Half-Life Alyx. Does it still say just March? It still says just March. Well,
just March.
Just March. At one day.
One day. Just one day in March.
Just pop up. That's kind of hilarious, actually. It just sits there. They're like,
So yeah,
you don't need a lot to run this, actually. Minimum requirements are an i5, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and a 1060. It's actually not heavy at all. So, that's cool.
Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx out March at some point. I'm sure they're going to announce a release date at some point.
I've got
probably in March. Probably like March 1st. They're going to be like, it comes out the 22nd.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I find this fun. I've got 3 friends who want Half-Life Alyx. And I got a friend who already owns it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets into the pre-order thing again, but
which apparently is 10% off.
Yeah.
I'm still looking forward to it, but I guess for me, thankfully, since I didn't have the decade hype that other people do, I probably won't have that sort of lens when going through it,
Yeah. Man, people must be so lucky who've just finished the Half-Life series and the next game comes out in March. I still find it crazy that there is a Half-Life game coming out. Like, I'm so used to it being like, oh, yep, that's the meme. Yep, there's nothing. Nope, yep. Yeah, nope.
Oh, wait, they're going to talk about Nope, it's just another Portal.
Now it's here, and I'm like,
holy crap, there's a new Half-Life game coming out. Well, hot damn. I didn't think they would do it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's still a lot of things with it. Like, who knows?
Who knows? Like I said, there's only a month left till it's released. So
we still don't know a lot about it, which makes me think it's gonna get delayed. We haven't really seen gameplay. There was like that tested video that came out. It was so weird. I don't know. There was a
Well,
Q&A that they did on the Half-Life subreddit, and they said that they're mostly done and they're just polishing at this point.
again, we just have to wait until they decide to say something.
Yeah, it's Valve. So Half-Life Alyx is going to come out. There's going to be patches for it. There's going to be like, all that stuff. And then at a certain point, they're going to go away again. It's all going to stop again. And that day is coming.
And then we gotta wait another 10 years before Left 4 Dead VR.
No, apparently that's next, but I don't know how true that is.
Again, interesting to see see that in VR, but I don't know if they're even gonna do that.
I'm not really sold on VR yet, so like I'm kind of like, I feel really bad for people who have tried VR and don't like it. Like, can you imagine like playing Oculus or playing Vive or playing whatever Index, and you're like, this isn't really for me. But you're like, your favorite game is Half-Life 2, and then you're like sitting at work one day and they're like, oh yeah, Half-Life Alyx is a VR.
This VR exclusive.
I'd be livid. I'd be so upset. Like, really? This is what you can do? All right, well, I guess I'll watch a Let's Play of it.
I'm pretty sure more people would be pissed if it was Half-Life 3 instead, being VR exclusive.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Really?
I feel like it would be... I think people would... I think the announcement of Half-Life 3 trumps it being on VR. I think that is such a huge game to announce that people would be like, oh my god, we're getting it. If the reaction to Half-Life Alyx is any indication of what that would have been like, then yes, people would have been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're getting this thing. How crazy. Woo. You know?
Oh yeah, because yeah, it is a new Half-Life game after a decade, so...
Well, if you make people wait that long for anything, they're gonna go a little crazy. Something that I think is really, really insane is there's like a short interview video that Jeff Keighley did with the dev team, and like they clearly are like, well, we just made a Half-Life game because we wanted to make something in VR, and a big AAA VR game is something that our customers been asking for, and we didn't really understand why, but we were like, okay, I guess we'll do that. We can definitely fill that market. And so they went and made it, and they accidentally made it a Half-Life game. Literally, they accidentally made it a Half-Life game. They were it was originally going to be a Portal game. It was literally it was an accident. And they were like, "Oh, let's try that. Let's try it out in VR. Let's just see if it works." And they like ported over Half-Life 2 to VR, and they were playing it. And it was only like a 5-minute demo, but people were spending like 45 minutes like in VR just like messing around with shit. And they were like, "Well, I guess this is what we have to make."
Oh yeah, I remember seeing interviews of like apparently players kept doing stuff that in Half-Life 2 that the developers were like not expecting them to do.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And they were like, well, I guess that's the thing that we got to do. It's such a Valve reaction to be like, well, I mean, playtesters liked it, so I guess we have to go about doing things. And
by the time it's over, they're just like, huh, well, that happened.
Yeah, they're like so divorced from it. It's crazy. Like, they're literally talking about it like a cyborg. They're like, well, customers really like it, so I guess this is what we have to do. And meanwhile, people have been screaming from the hilltops for like a decade of like where the third episode was. And then they also said in the interview, they're like, we never said that Half-Life was dead, so I don't understand why everybody was like, oh, this is never going to happen. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're paying no attention to your community? They thought it was dead because you wouldn't say anything. But in Valve's mind, they were like, well, we didn't say anything because we didn't have anything to say. Well, clearly you did have things to say because you were working on Half-Life 3 for a while and then canned it. So, like...
You chose not to say anything.
You just chose not to say anything.
I mean, I get it. They want to keep certain things under wraps while they're developing a new game, but...
The whole secrecy of the industry is so stupid. Like, I don't see why there should be any issue with somebody saying, yeah, I'm working on the next Shadow of War.
Well, because you got to keep those secrets in so nobody steals those precious ideas.
Like, I don't even think that's true.
Oh,
like, I don't...
Hell no, it's not true.
I honestly, like, I kind of like the Bethesda approach. Kind of. There's definitely, like, there's things that I don't like about it. Basically... the new approach, which is like, we're going to announce that this thing exists, but we're not going to say anything else about it for like a long time. Because they announced Elder Scrolls 6, I think.
Like,
or 7 or whatever it is. I don't even know where we're at.
Yeah, they announced at like the same time Fallout 76 got announced, right? And that was like a couple of years back, and they were just like, "Hey, Elder Scrolls 6."
Yeah, they just went, yeah, it exists. We're working on it. It'll come out at some point.
Oh god. Or I remember like when Pokemon Sword and Shield was like first unofficially announced for the Switch, or it was like an untitled Pokemon game. And Nintendo was just like, "Hey guys, we're working on a Pokemon game for Switch. We don't have anything to show for it, but it's coming."
I don't see. That's the thing. That's the caveat about it that I don't like. I don't mind you saying in an interview if someone asks you about it, being like, "Oh yeah, of course we're working on it," but there's really nothing to say about it right now. So when we have something to show you, like in more detail about it, we will. But just know that it's working. We're working on it, and if there is a development that puts us off that path onto something else, then we'll tell you about that too. I think there's a confusion between telling people something exists and telling people everything that game is. It's like it would have been totally fine for them to say, "Hey, Starfield exists. It's a game that we're working on. It might not turn out to be anything, but we'll see." But the difference is, and what I was trying to talk about a second ago, is when you make a big deal about it. That's what I don't like. Because then you're inviting people to ask you questions about it forever because you made such a big deal about it. You know, like you made a big trailer for it. Like so apparently the trailer for Elder Scrolls 6, when they announced it at that E3, that was the only thing that existed for Elder Scrolls 6, was that trailer.
Okay, I kind of figured, because, again, they didn't show... Wait, so I mean they literally had nothing, like, in-game?
There's no game.
Oh my god.
It was just the trailer.
So, literally, the only thing they had made was the title.
Yeah, not even the title.
Well, not title.
Because you have to remember, there's a suffix or whatever they add to the title. Like Elder Scrolls 6 insert region, right? So, like, they didn't even know where it was yet. They hadn't even started on the map. They were like, oh, well. Apparently what forced their hand was Fallout 76.
Oh my god.
Because Fallout 76 was announced to be a multiplayer game, and they wanted to announce that they were working on other single-player things just to say, hey, we are not doing only multiplayer. Don't freak out, which, you know what happened there. But
I can only imagine, like, some of the co-workers working at Bethesda seeing Elder Scrolls 6, and they're like, what the fuck is he talking about?
I'm sure some people were briefed. Where they were like, oh yeah, we're going to announce this thing. Don't say anything about it. So, yeah.
But still, the fact that they announced a game that they haven't even, like, planned out yet, it made it a big of a deal, as you said.
Right. If you make it a big deal, then you're inviting people to question it. And if you don't have anything, don't make it a big deal. But if you unceremoniously say, oh yeah, we're of course we're working on Elder Scrolls 6. We don't know what that is yet, but we'll tell you more when we have something more to tell you. That's a fine strategy. And then if it gets canned, you can just be like, oh, we canned it.
I mean, they'll disappoint some people, but it won't be. But it's like it's whatever. It was a passing mention in the first place.
Right, and then people kind of figure it out too. Like it's like, okay, so the sequel of this thing was supposed to come out in 2000. So going back to Half-Life, the sequel to Episode 2 was supposed to come out in 2009. 2009 has come and gone, and then some. So yeah. We can kind of assume what happened there. Clearly, it's dead. You know. And I really feel like they should have Valve should have been like, hey, we were working on this thing, it didn't work out. This does not mean that Half-Life is dead, it just means that we're moving on to other ventures for now. And looking back on everything that they've said about Half-Life in the last couple of years or whatever, I think it's pretty clear that they think that they said that. You know, that they think that they said, oh yeah, no, we're not doing anything else.
But that's just not how it came across to majority of the people.
But it's not how it came across to people, yeah. Because Valve has a very weird analytical way of talking. And they've been that way forever.
Company secrecies. You gotta have them, I suppose. Even though you really don't have to have it.
I don't think so at all. I don't think you need it. I could understand not saying a lot about a project before you start it. Like, can you imagine if you had to start, like, before you started any, like, video you were going to work on, you were like, here's everything about this video that I'm working on. No, don't do that. Because one, it kind of spoils the video, right? And then two, it's like, now you've overpromised this thing, and if it's not that, people are going to get upset, you know? So what you should be doing is saying, like, hey, this thing might come out, it might not be what you think it is. Or, I'm working on this thing, this does not mean it's going to come out. Like, if you put caveats and attach things to it, you know?
We literally only have this, the conceptual stuff going on right now, so...
Right. So I mean, that's what when I was talking about my videos at the start of the podcast, I was like, "Hey, I'm working towards this goal. It doesn't mean this is going to happen, but this is what I'm working on." You know, it's not a
hard promise.
Expect this to come out tomorrow, right? But I don't know. Video game secrecy is kind of dumb, basically. I guess that's the title.
There's a right way to announce things, and there's a wrong way.
Oh my goodness, we really went off on a tangent with that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how long we've been going. Because we were still on What Are You Playing? Oh my gosh. I guess we should talk about what I've been playing. I've been playing Gwent and Witcher. I've been playing a little bit of Stellaris as well, but overall, I'm not playing much. I've been considering starting the Fallen Order at some point, but I don't know when I'm going to get to that.
I mean, I am kind of interested in Fallen Order, but I don't know if I'm going to go and pay full price for that game.
I don't know.
I've heard good things about it, but I think I can wait before I even...
I can say that if I didn't get it for Christmas, I probably wouldn't get it myself. Like, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have been like, I'll report back. I'll play it a little bit. I'll report back in the podcast about it. But
just make sure, like, when you come back, you have to talk positive about there being no microtransactions.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, they did the bare minimum. We should praise them for doing the bare minimum.
Hey, look, we reverted games back before the 360 era.
Yeah. I watched, speaking of the 360 era, there was a G4 video that's posted on YouTube. It's like a full live stream event, not live stream event, a TV event they did.
Oh.
Pardon me, back when the 360 launched. And it's called the Next Gen event or whatever. You can find it on YouTube. But it just made me feel so old. Because they were like, oh, don't worry, Half-Life 3, or not Half-Life 3, Jesus. Halo 3 will be out next year. And I was like, oh my god, Halo 3 comes out next year for you people? That's insane.
And you people aren't even around anymore.
Yeah. Your channel doesn't even exist. Your TV station, rather.
Yeah. Oh, god. I remember when G4 used to be like, or at least for me, was like a pretty good source of gaming news and all of that, but...
Oh, I loved watching G4 during E3.
Oh, yeah.
They had all the conferences, and they had all
did. I remember that is how I watched E3 at first, was through the G4 stuff, especially since they were on demand.
Oh, yeah.
So, oh man, just...
Yeah, 100%. Do you want to do anything for E3 this year?
I mean, seeing as how literally everyone else is leaving E3, why shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's not fair.
What I thought about doing is, like, just doing a bonus episode of the podcast about it. Just being like, here's what was announced. Here's what we care about. Here's why it kind of sucked.
I mean, yeah, there still might be... It might still be fun to talk about stuff from E3.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I really want to do, like a drinking live stream to it. That'd be fun.
Oh, that would be fun. Oh, my God.
Like, take a shot every time Microsoft says exclusive or something. It's like, you will die.
Oh, no, they announced the Xbox 5, and they once again go back to talk about sports TV.
Yeah, the first shot you take of the whole event is take one shot for every time Sony isn't mentioned. So you take one shot because Sony isn't there, just right at the gate, and then the rest of the time it's like, figure it out. PC Gamer Show, it's like every time they do something cringy, you have to take a shot. You just die. You're just dead by the end of that. Oh man. Oh my god, a hangover after that would be awful.
Oh, it would be terrible.
I don't really get hangovers though, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, the most I get in terms of hangover is just a slight headache.
I'm the same way. I have a mild headache the next day. The worst one, I was like mildly drunk the next day, but mildly.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest feeling. I felt like I was like underwater or something. It's so strange.
Huh.
And that's the only time that ever happened.
I don't think I've ever had that happen to me before.
It was a very weird sensation. I don't recommend it. So clearly I'm not gonna do that again. But that was my college days. Those are behind me.
Hangovers are a myth to me.
Well, you don't drink heavily, right? So you don't even.
I mean, sometimes I'll have like 5 beers in a sitting, but that's usually like during social events mostly.
I can handle a lot. It depends on like what it is usually, and like what the circumstances are. But I can usually I'm good at handling myself.
I did learn the hard way about the whole beer before liquor, never been sick or thing.
Yeah, I think I've only been sick from drinking like 3 times. Yeah, like 4 times. Yeah, 4 times.
Yeah, that's about right for me as well.
Yeah.
It has not been very often.
The 4th time doesn't really count because I was already kind of sick, so that's why I was like, oh well.
But
college, man.
Yeah, I really ought to get to go to like Germany or Ireland if I want to get some real beer.
Go during Oktoberfest.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, it'd be fun to go to Gamescom actually, because that's around the same time.
Really?
Yeah. And Gamescom is becoming like the big deal now, so that'd be cool to go to Gamescom and play some like early access games or whatever. It'd be fun.
It might be.
It might be. Who knows?
Definitely not me.
Who knows anything about Gamescom? I don't even know if it exists or not. Those Germans could be making it up. They fooled us twice before. This podcast is going to get us in trouble in like 10 years.
Worth it.
I can't believe you said that on a podcast 10 years ago. Like,
really? I can.
Yeah, I totally believe it. I mean, I have to believe it because it's fact, because you have the recording of it. So clearly
we literally have the most incriminating thing
out
there.
It's not really a belief. Yeah, it's really incriminating. It also sucks for like future employers that are listening to this and they're like, oh, he doesn't like this company, and he doesn't like this company, he doesn't like this about this. I think that's often a confusion with a lot of gamers. I don't like that. There's often a confusion with a lot of gamers that when a company does something that they don't like, they attack the people that did it. And I think that gets confused with, no, you're attacking them. You're criticizing them because you want them to do better. You're not criticizing them because you hate them, right? I don't hate Bethesda. I criticize Bethesda because I've seen them do better, and I want them to do better because I used to be a customer of theirs, and now I don't like them because they don't do this and that, And so as a customer, I moved on.
They literally make shitty business decisions.
Right. There's kind of a process of changing right now with me and Steam, where I'm kind of moving over to GOG because GOG has more things that I want right now. Does that mean I'm getting rid of Steam? Does that mean I want to quit Steam? No. I think Steam is still a fine place. It's a fine storefront.
It's just GOG is better. You should all move to GOG.
Well, I mean, I don't think that everybody should just move to GOG. I think that GOG's model should go over to new platforms. Like, I think there should be a DRM-free section of Steam. Like, if Steam put the same amount of work into making sure the games worked and making sure that, like, if Steam put the same level of effort into doing that, then maybe I wouldn't need to go to somewhere else, And it's also good to support competition, too. Like, obviously, GOG is not going to overtake Steam anytime soon, but if you show support for what they're doing, it's going to make people interested in what they're doing, and then there's going to be more competitors and things like that, so.
I mean, GOG is not going to take down Steam, and Origin sure as hell isn't.
Yeah. Although Origin isn't too bad. Except they've kind of gotten rid of their storefront.
Because they moved over to Steam, didn't they?
No. They're not entirely moved over to Steam. There's like going forward, there's gonna be like some like crossover. Like some of them are gonna be on Steam, some of them are gonna be on not GOG, Jesus, on
Origin.
But the thing that I was looking at games to get on Origin, and their storefront is gone.
Just straight up.
Yes, just straight up. They've replaced it with the subscription service that they have. I don't remember what it's called, like EA Access or whatever.
They have a subscription service?
They do, yeah. You didn't know this?
I didn't know that. I haven't touched Origin in so long.
they've had that. Ubisoft and EA have their own subscription service where you like subscribe and get like all their games for whatever, like $30 a year or something like that.
Okay, I mean, $30 a year is not that bad, but still, like,
I don't know if that's accurate. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. All right. Is it EA Access?
and I realized I had touched Origin, that was back in Apex, but I haven't been in the storefront page.
Price per month. Let's see. It's $5 a month, $30 a year.
$5 a month or $30 a year. So,
That's not a horrible price.
that's not that bad of a price at all.
What you could do is if EA has a game that you want to play but you don't want to buy it, you could rent or like get the $5 for a month of EA access, play it, and if you don't like it, cancel the service and don't come back.
Yeah.
But if you like it, you can go and buy the game and still cancel the service. So like, you know.
So basically, it just became an alternate version of GameFly.
I don't know about that, but I really think that there needs to be a games rental service. I really feel like that helps business. But I can understand in the age of the download why that wouldn't be helpful.
Is GameFly still not a thing, or
No, I think Gamefly's dead.
really? Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised because it's not like I really heard anyone talk about that, like at all.
I remember commercials from like the 90s. Not the 90s, but like early 2000s, early aughts.
Yeah, back when like Blockbuster was still a thing.
I looked up is Gamefly alive? Question mark.
Is GameFly really dead? I mean, their website's still up, it seems.
No, it's not. Website maintenance. Temporarily unavailable.
Because I can get on just fine.
No, I just have maintenance.
Nope, now I'm getting the maintenance.
The Twitter. Oh, they still exist. Okay.
Okay, but really, okay, but even aside from that, GameFly is really the only gaming rental service that I am aware of. Like, there's not really any others that I can really point to. I mean, I remember like back when Blockbuster, you could rent video games, and actually, I don't even think Netflix had that offer when they still did the DVD thing. Although I still think there could be a potential for a video game rental market, just because again, like those ones, you have had to put more time into than say a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, though, but there's also like demos. That's not really the same thing.
Yeah. I really miss demos.
Yeah.
I understand why they got rid of them, because apparently they killed game sales. Because apparently people, so what people would do is they would download the demo and they would play the demo, and then they would go, oh, this is not what I wanted. And they would rather you buy it and figure that out than have you download a demo.
Oh my god, that's terrible. That's bad. It's odd because like demos nowadays are far more streamlined than they have been back in like say the 90s.
Yeah.
Because back then you had to get a demo disc to play them. Which I remember when I had a couple of PS1 demo discs. Actually, PS1, PS2. God, I wonder what happened to those. I remember like
those demo discs.
Yeah,
they're sitting in a landfill.
Probably. Like I remember like the PS2 demo disc is where I first learned about Ratchet and Clank Going Commando and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. And those were pretty fun.
Yeah. The homeless guy is using it as his coaster, and one of the demo discs for like, I don't know. Funhouse has a series called Demo Disc, I think. No, I don't think I know. So what they do is they put in a demo disc and they like download all the demos from it and they play it.
Huh.
So that's kind of funny, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, but demo discs are certainly an obsolete marketplace nowadays.
Yeah. Well, disc-based anything.
Yeah. I mean, everything is now streaming. Though, video games cannot get away with streaming that much still. Just because, especially the action-based games where you would have the... you would have a pretty high potential of lag.
I'm really not interested in game streaming. It really feels like it's bad for the consumer, but
Why do you say that?
There's a great video that Super Bunny Hop did on game streaming that will explain it more eloquently than I can, especially because I haven't read about it in a while. But like, it basically puts all of the control for a game in the publisher's hands. So now, if a publisher doesn't like a game, they can just be like, "Well, you can't stream it anymore," and they can just take it away from you.
Well, that's how I feel about digital downloads as well. Just
Yeah.
at any point, developers can, if they don't want it to be out there, they can just be like, and gone.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the whole, remember when all of, Marvel's games in the digital store just got completely removed?
But the aspect that's different is that if you still have it downloaded, you still have it. But in this case, with streaming, is that you're not even downloading the product anymore. They have control of it. They allow you to stream it or not to stream it. So at that point, then you could just say, well, I don't want this thing to exist. And so you take it off the streaming thing, and then the only thing that exists of that game is maybe Let's Plays.
And that, oh god, that could suck.
Yeah. Especially for games preservation. That would be really bad.
And that's why I don't want games to completely go into the digital marketplace. I still want there to be physical copies of it, or at least still a way for the person to actually own it.
No, that's already dead.
Oh, damn it.
The physical thing that you buy is already dead. The only console right now that does that, where you still kind of own it, is the Switch. That's the only console that kind of you still have ownership of that thing and you can play it offline. But even with the Switch, there's still patch downloads. So what you have, everybody trashed Microsoft, rightfully so, when they announced the Xbox One, that they were doing this, that the disc is basically a key. It's not really what is on the disc. That is already the future we live in. They were 100% accurate with that, for both PlayStation and for Xbox, and kind of for Switch with some titles. So basically, if you unplugged your Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's right from the internet. It's not connected to the internet, and you put in, or your PlayStation, and you put in a game disc, you could still play that game. You could still play what's installed on that disc. You can't play the patches. You can't play the DLC. You can't play the free content they added later. You can't play multiplayer. You can't do that. It's such a limiting thing that you basically have to have the download already. You have to have an internet connection already. That battle is already lost.
So basically, games nowadays solely rely on the internet.
They do, yeah, 100%. You have to have the patches. Can you imagine? Just think about this scenario. You want to play Fallout 76 in the year 2670. Well, just so far in the future. And the only thing that you have is a PlayStation disc. And you have that PS4 disc. And you throw that in there. How the hell are you going to play that? One, it's not going to work because it's a multiplayer game. And two, it's going to be broken as shit because you don't have any of the patches for it. Because the servers are gone by that point.
You know what's one game that would not work offline? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Because I think, if I remember correctly, only the tutorial is on the disc. Everything else was patched in.
Yeah. So, now think about all these games that, have day one DLC, and, all this other stuff. A big, huge day one patches. No Man's Sky is an excellent game now. It has, all these patches and all these things that made it work way better. That's great. Imagine you going to the store and buying a copy of No Man's Sky from 2014 or whenever that game came out, and then you try to play it on your PlayStation without internet connection. It's gonna be trash because you don't have any of the you don't have internet connection to put the patches on it. So the whole physical battle that was lost. It's over. It's over. There's no point in having physical media anymore because it's so based on external things that it doesn't matter. The second that the industry moves towards online patches and things like that, it was dead in the water, because there's gonna be so many things that you're missing that you cannot access without having an internet connection to that server. You can still get physical goodies and statues and stuff like that. That's kind of neat if you care about that IP. But that's really the only benefit of physical now, is having little trinkets like that. Because otherwise, you're getting a box with a CD key. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Will, but physical lost.
That may be so, but at the very least, I can still say I own a game with physical releases.
No, you don't.
I'm still saying I do.
Because if you read those what are they, EULAs or whatever, those legal, those things that they make you pick up and like accept when you play a game. Those things, when you accept it, say you do not own this game, you own the license to play it.
What the fuck does that mean?
So what that means is you cannot come at them and say, hey, you shut down the servers for this, or hey, you took away the ability to download this expansion or whatever, because you don't own it. They do. You owned the license to play it, and they can revoke it whenever they want to. So we don't. There's like, this is why I love GOG so much, because GOG, you at least own the files, right?
Yeah.
You can still play that game. You can put it on a hard drive, and in 15 years from now, you can plug it into a computer, and it should boot, considering what operating system exists 15 years from now or whatever. But you have all the files from it. It's your files. That's why I like GOG more than Steam, because Steam's not going anywhere. But the second somebody on Steam is like, I don't want people to download this game anymore because me and so had a fight, and I don't want him to get any money, so we took it down from the Steam store. Well, guess what? Those files are gone. And so now you can't re-download them. And so, if you uninstalled a game and you want to play it again, even if Steam still exists or it doesn't exist, you can't download it because they took it off Steam's servers.
Or hell, like I can't even get Alpha Protocol on Steam because Sega took that down.
Exactly.
And
so like, this is the industry that really exists now. People have become like, we've walked obliviously into this. Like, nobody really understood what the consequences of what this thing was. It was just like, oh, we can get games for super cheap, and oh man, we can have it on a computer. We don't need to have the physical media. We don't have to have the storage space or whatever. But it came at a huge cost to consumer rights. Huge cost. But people don't care, so.
So basically, what in this age, it's we don't own the video games. It's still under the ownership of the companies.
Yes. You don't own it. You own the license to play it for as long as they want you to play it.
Oh god, could you imagine if like a movie? Or no, technically speaking, they can do that. Can they?
Can they do what?
I was thinking of like if a movie could do that on Netflix or whatever, just be like,
Yes.
I don't want people to see this, so I'm just gonna remove it entirely from streaming.
Yep, 100%.
It kind of sucks that we ourselves do.
At least with a movie, you could screen cap it. You could like save it somewhere. Somebody could have copied it. Yeah, somebody could have done something. But with a game, you can't do that. You could try to copy the files, but if it was a DRM game, then you can't. You can't take the files and use it somewhere else because it's attached to some kind of program.
Or hell,
Man, if it's never gonna happen probably, but if Steam goes under for whatever reason, millions of customers are screwed, and it's gonna ruin games preservation because there are games that are exclusive to Steam.
Oh god,
that no one really thinks about because Steam is so pervasive. It's everywhere, right?
It's like
but
the online gaming market.
Yeah, but it's still exclusive to that market or that storefront. And if that storefront doesn't exist anymore, then your game is gone. It's such a fragile industry, and people don't really see it that way. They don't
No one takes. Okay, not a whole lot of people take game preservation that seriously.
Yeah, I think we should. We should be taking game preservation super seriously. It's protecting an art form.
Yeah, we protect freaking movies for God's sakes.
Yeah,
I think games should have that kind of treatment, especially if we're going an entirely online thing where developers can just remove a game on the whim. It's now more important than ever.
Yeah, and I don't even think the developers would do it. What I think really happens is the publishers will do it, because we don't want you to play the original Dragon Age because we don't want you to know what the original Dragon Age was. We want you to buy the new one. So why would we want you to play the old one? There's a new one coming. So the new one.
Oh, so basically, video game companies all turned into George Lucas.
Yeah. Well, not even necessarily George Lucas. It's more like they still view it as a product. They don't view it as a piece of art or a piece of entertainment or a piece of whatever that somebody like worked really hard on. They view it as, here's this toy we gave you, buy our new toys. Why would you want to play with the old toys? Play with the new ones. Like, why would you want to do that? Like,
these new toys are far better than the old ones. The minds of these
people that work in these corporations, they don't think of it as art. They think of it as art on occasion whenever it benefits them. Because they can be like, oh, look, we have a heart. We supported this game or whatever. But they still view it as just a product. This is something to be sold or whatever, which is fine. That's how it works. I really think it needs to be stressed that these things are, one, a work of art, and two, these are important to certain people. We have a lot of game developers that have since died from the 90s who are making stuff like back in the 90s and back in the 80s and stuff like that for like Atari and things like that. And those people are starting to disappear.
And a lot of people who grew up with game consoles like the NES or whatever hold positions in gaming companies.
Yeah.
So like more and more people are getting into gaming, and like it's starting to grow over time. And there are people still don't take this crap seriously.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really insane.
Yeah, I can accept. I can accept that the physical medium is dying as a whole.
It's not dying. It's dead.
Okay, I can accept that the physical medium is dead. I can accept that.
Yeah.
It's just I don't want those caveats to be over my head the entire time.
Yeah. Well, for one, they are, and two, the thing that's kind of crazy about it is that for a lot of games, you probably don't care. For like a lot of games that you played and you're like, oh, that's kind of fun, but you weren't like 100% like in love with it or whatever. Those are the games that are like, and they kind of disappear. And you don't even realize that you didn't want that thing anymore because you're not even thinking about it. So that's something that people say a lot, is that you're going to be so distracted by new games that come out, you're not even going to want to go back and play old stuff. Why would you want to do that? I think that kind of attitude is what's insane. And there's some truth to it. Because there's probably plenty of games that I've played in my life where I was like, I'm not sold on this. And I refunded it, or like I just kept it on a shelf or whatever. And eventually that's going to get taken away from me, and then you'll never be able to play it again. But it's okay, because you're not even going to remember that you wanted to do that. It's this weird thing. The industry is like has gone in this completely crazy route.
Yeah, it's not. There's a lot that needs to be fixed, I think.
It seems like it's passed you by.
Oh, I never given like stuff like that too much of a thought.
Sorry to burst the bubble there.
No, I'm just trying to think. That's all. It's just kind of sad that. Again, it's just sad that games are not being treated the way like other art forms are being treated. Like, I do think it needs to have better preservation and less of like companies just trying to keep hold of that of it. You know, so they can forever either tinker it or just throw it under the bus.
Yeah.
Because much like any other art form, it should be, once it's out there in the public, it is no longer yours. It is the people's.
Yeah. How communist of you, Will.
And
anyway,
and
you watch the Super Bowl?
No. What's the Super Bowl? Did the Super Bowl already happen?
Well, by the time this comes out, it's already happened. It was yesterday. By the time this comes out, but you've already dated it, so it's too late.
Hey, look, you can edit that out.
Yeah, I could edit it out, but maybe I could leave it in.
Yeah, you
for
could.
A meme.
How about them Bears?
They're not in the playoffs. They never made it.
How about them Patriots?
They're not in there either. We'll just cycle through all the teams until you get it right.
Saints?
Nope.
I'm gonna take a guess and say that the Giants are not even in there.
No, the Giants aren't there either.
Yeah, my dad was not happy about the Giants' play this year.
Oh yeah, no, it's not good.
The Colts?
Nope. Oh, we're gonna do this? Okay.
No, I'm just gonna look this up.
That's cheating.
It is cheating, yeah.
It's the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Huh. Yeah, I would have.
So
Well,
people at my alma mater are probably pretty excited that the Chiefs have made the Super Bowl or whatever.
we only know that we only ever watch the Super Bowl for the commercials.
I don't really feel like there's any point in watching the commercials anymore because like the commercials were a big deal because they were something funny on TV that you didn't traditionally get. And now you not only do you traditionally get it, but you can go on YouTube and find 1,000,001 funny videos like that every day. So like the commercials aren't even that special anymore. And you could say like, oh, they got a good production value or whatever, but they don't really even do that. Like it's like a lot of money spent for like a dumb joke. It's like, oh, okay. So I don't know.
I haven't really like watched the Super Bowl in years, so it's not like I'm gonna be really missing anything for the game and the commercials.
I'm probably gonna watch it with my family because they always do that like fun like thing with wings or whatever. So that'd be fun. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Holy crap! Jeez.
Yeah, it's almost an hour and a half. Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Bars and Tone podcast, episode 5. It's been an interesting one. Kind of a slow week, so not a lot of news to talk about, but whatever.
Gamers rise up against DRMs.
The DRMs, the multiple DRMs. See you next week. Oh wait, before we see you next week, you have anything to plug, Will?
Go buy my non-existent merch.
Buy his non-existent merch. Go to his non-existent Twitch stream.
And check out my YouTube channel. I'll create a video someday.
You should make a video about not making videos.
I always bring that up in like every single one of my videos, and I'm getting a little tired of
You should bring up that you're getting tired of bringing up that you don't make it. Just make it super meta. It just endlessly cycles. It just never stops. Eventually, it's a video about how you never make videos, how you never make videos about never making videos about never, and it just never ends. It's like a mirror. It's like putting a camera on a mirror, and it just goes endlessly. It never stops. All right. I guess I'll plug my stuff. If you're already in the right place, hey, keep subscribing. Click unsubscribe and then resubscribe. Do that over and over and over again. So my analytics look like shit. To Brandon YouTube channel. There should be more videos coming out the next couple weeks. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, there's gonna be Twitch streams. The links on the channel. If you care, you'll find it. All right, see you guys next week.
No.